All right, hey guys, we're live here on our 6th episode of Keeping It Real Masterminds. Really excited today to have a friend, Jeff Quintin, and a great real estate agent from the South New Jersey area, Ocean City. I'm going to go over a few things, just some housekeeping items that we got to clear up, or just inform you guys about, because I keep getting like, hey, how do I find out about these Keeping It Real hangouts? How can I be notified? I've been hearing about these. And here's one thing, if you're getting an email directly from me, you don't need to go opt-in. If you're getting a personal email directly from me about these Keeping It Real hangouts, you're already opted out and on your list. If you go to keepingitreal.com, and on the right side we have an opt-in form. If you want to get personal invites of these, we're getting a huge response. People are loving these because our guests are helping so many agents build their business and give better service for their clients. So go to keepingitreal.com and opt in, and you will be on the list, and you'll get invites a week before, day before, and when we go live. And you'll also get a replay. Just so you know, we do send out a replay to everyone on our list. And other ways of getting notified would be go to the Real Geeks Google Plus page and follow us. If we post an event, I think you should come up in your stream. Same thing with the Real Geeks Facebook group, or the Real Geeks Facebook page. Yeah, so you can go and do that. Also, we have Frank Klesitz, my partner in these from Viral Marketing. Like I said before, but if you're just first tuning in, there's no way these things would be going off without Frank's help. I talked about doing it. I know, I'm serious, Frank. You're awesome, man. You're the man. I talked about doing these things for like a year and never did it because I didn't have the bandwidth. And then I met Frank, and he's like, dude, I'll help you. Because, and he's like, I want to give back too. So I've been in the business for a little over 20 years. I'm a Hawaii real estate broker. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff Manson. I'm also the founder of Real Geeks. And Frank Klesitz is the CEO of Viral Marketing, and they help real estate agents market to their database with good content and stuff to their database. All right? So, without any further ado, I want to go over and introduce Jeff. He's been in the real estate business for over 22 years, so he's an old veteran like myself, but he's cutting edge and kicking butt in the South New Jersey area. And if any of you do have referrals, send them to Jeff, because he's given up his time here, and we really appreciate coming up. He's a busy guy, and if you liked what he's saying and what he's teaching and what he's going to share, how he helps his clients, and also how he can help you build your business, please send him referrals, because that's the best thing you can do as a compliment and thanking him. Last year they sold last year in 2013 him and his team sold 174 properties. They're on track to sell 210 properties this year, and they're carrying 90 listings. And they're in a resort market. Jeff, I'm just really excited. I'm sorry, guys, I get a little woo. Anyway, I'm just keeping it real. I am really excited because you know what? Jeff really gets it. He's one of the agents, and I love networking and being friends with agents that really get it. He understands that he needs to be working on his mindset and his skills to build his business, but not only build his business, if he's working on those, he's going to help his clients and sell more homes. So it's not just building your business. It's building those mindset and skills so you can help your clients achieve their goals. And he really gets that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and go over how he generates listings, transactions, how he's able to manage so many listings, how he generates business from his database, and also how he runs his business, because he's really profitable and he doesn't do it with a big staff. But anyway, so Frank and Jeff, let's get this party started.
Yeah, I want to say for anyone, if they have any questions, there's a great Q&A app here. Just type in the question, and when it comes to that section, we'll get it answered for you. So feel free to ask a question. And I would say, Jeff, I think probably where we should start off with is we'll talk about prospecting and mindset, and then we'll go into marketing.
Sure.
So prospecting for maybe 20 minutes, mindset, skills, right, 20 minutes. Then we'll go into the marketing, the database marketing that you're doing to enhance that. And then we'll go into admin in the final 20 minutes. Sound good? So why don't you tell us let's just start off by how do you generate seller leads?
So, my team and I, we've always been prospect driven, and prospect, is the way we've always learned. So, I'm Mike, very trained agent. So I started off basically just calling, right now what we do is we call our past clients, our centers of influence. We call them every single day. We call expired listings, old expireds, a little bit of for sale by owners, not a lot in my marketplace. We do just listed, just sold calls. Not a lot, not as much as we need to. However, we also do some target just listed, just sold calls as far as some development opportunities where we're able to go into our market and look at teardowns and sell them to developers, and then we tear down and we get the out sales. So most of our lead generation overall is prospecting based, and then we do some marketing enhancement behind that. Not a lot of marketing, but ultimately we spend each and every day, my team and I am on the phone 4 hours. My other 2 agents that work on my team, they're actually buyers agents. They also list a little bit as well. They prospect buyer leads and also seller leads, and they're on the phone a minimum about 2.5 hours a day. So we're pretty aggressive, every single day. We don't miss a beat and prospecting.
Hey Jeff, so of all those, what is your most productive and the biggest share of the amount of listings you get from? Expireds, past clients, center of influence?
Right now, hold on, I have the numbers right here.
Nice. See, I love it. A numbers guy. He gets it. He tracks everything.
So I just had a team meeting the other day on Tuesday, so I had to break all our numbers down between where we are this year so far. And so these are through August 23rd. I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but basically, so on this year so far, 19% of our business is expired. On the seller side, past clients, center of influence, past clients 28%, COIs 5%. So a major portion of our business right now is coming from past client, center of influence, and expireds, that all together, and referrals. I mean, if you really look at the breakdown, past client, COI, and referrals is a little over 50%, and then expireds are about 19%. So most of our listings are coming from our past clients and center of influence by calling them, people referring us because we're asking for the referrals, and then we're also going out to the expireds and old expireds. So it's kind of a mix in all of that.
Yeah, we got a good question that Kevin asked here, and I think this is good for now. Can you share with us, Jeff, the people and the positions you have in place currently on the listing generation side, as well as the buyer side? Can you go over all the staff you have on the lead generation machine you have?
Yeah,
and the duties
certainly.
of each person?
Yeah, so I pretty much have a small team. It's versus some other very large teams around the country we know about. So I'm really the primary listing agent on my team. That's how it's always been. And then I have 2 buyers agents. However, they're pretty well skilled. They can go on listing presentations and they do list. Each of them only probably have of their own maybe a handful of listings, maybe at most. But ultimately, they're always following up with our buyer leads and new buyer leads coming in. And I also give them seller leads to go out and go on presentations as well. So the reality is, on the sales side, income generation side, it's me as a primary listing agent. I've got 2 other they're really buyers agents. 90% of what they do is buyer sales. So that's pretty much me. Of the 174 deals that we did last year, I did have 1 in-house ISA works part-time, and Nick is our prospector, and he's in-house, and he helps me also prospect expireds, old expireds, and really just hammers through for leads and then tees them up, sets appointments for me. So that's kind of our lead generation seller side. It's Nick, ISA, teeing leads up for me. Also, I'm prospecting as well, and then 2 buyers agents. On the admin side, I've got 1 listing coordinator, 1 closing coordinator, and then 1 team assistant, and also my own personal assistant. So the reality is that there's only really 6 of us. There's the part-time ISA that we hired about a year ago, and then more recently, I did make another hire. Again, I'm moving a little bit different direction on some other things moving forward to grow a little bit. So I just hired a CEO of my team. And that's Bob, who runs my whole entire operations, sales side and admin side. So currently, right now, there's 7 of us, Bob included.
Great. So when you're prospecting, let's talk about can you maybe just give me a typical morning of what happens when you come in? You have 2 offices. You have a sales office. Then your admin office is actually down the street. You moved out of the admin office. You're about a mile away or something, right? Can you walk us through a typical morning for you to generate leads and what happens right when you walk into the office?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, so I've been constantly prospecting and lead generating for a long time. So in year 2000, I went to Mike Ferry and became a Mike Ferry trained agent and got a coach through Mike. And basically before I got into prospecting, lead generating, going out for business, I was like any other agent, kind of just came in the office and really didn't have much discipline, and I had really, whatever happened during the day, whatever call came in, I kind of just ran around. And I worked really, really hard, and I was working 10 days a week. So ultimately I was able to be fairly successful, but I was running around. So for about the last I'd say for a strong 10, 11 years, my morning schedule was pretty disciplined, and it's still very disciplined today. But then obviously it's different things have come into play. I've got children now and kids and school, and they're in 2 different schools. So my morning's not as much as it used to be. But what the key I'm getting, the point I'm making is, before children and all that, for the first 10 years, man, I was in the office. I was up at 5:30. I was at a trainer. I was doing all the things to build the base where I am, role playing twice a day and doing a lot of that. Today, I'm not doing as much as that as needed. So my typical day today, my guys are doing it, but typical day today, I don't get in the office till probably 8:45, 9 o'clock. Depends on if school's in, and like this summertime, I'm dropping kids off the camp, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I'm in say at 9 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock, I prospect 9 to 1 every single day. So I don't have my office. I have a call center type office. I don't have incoming calls that come in. It's all outbound. It's set up that way. And if you were to walk by it, you never even know what's behind it. But it is a storefront with blinds that are basically down. And inside there, we have all of our stand-up desks. We don't have any seats in here. It's all stand-up. And so I prospect 9 to 1. The guys are in here, sometimes 8:30, quarter of, 9 o'clock. Basically, 9 o'clock comes, boom, we're on the phone. The music's up. We have surround sound, and we're just dialing. I dial 2 phones. Everyone's got 2 phones on their desk. And Nick, my prospector's here at 9. Sometimes at 8:30, quarter to 9. He prospects till 1 also. He's 4 hours a day. He's 20 hours a week. And the other guys prospect about 9 to about 11:30, 12 o'clock each day.
That's great. Can you break down the question here from Patricia that got voted up? Can you break down how the commission splits on your team for us?
Sure. Again, this is a. Can you hear me, okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when it comes to commission splits, you just have to understand different markets, different all around the country. So this isn't, just what I do, and it just depends on where we are in the marketplace, because, my splits are pretty different than a lot of others. However, my average sales price is a little bit higher than, the average throughout the country. So the way my team works is my buyer's agents, they're on a 25-50 split. So if the lead is generated by them on their own, prospect on their own referral, an open house, however they get it, something other than a team-generated lead, they're at 50%. If it's anything that I personally give them, it's generated by me or my team, however which way, our past clients that are of influence, incoming calls, sign calls, ad calls, whatever it is that's generated by us, they're at 25%.
Great. Lots of questions, Jeff. You're a popular man. What are the data sources you use for accurate phone records, again, under the concept of prospecting for your leads? Where do you get your phone numbers? We click on these calls all day long.
Okay, so, primarily, well, again, I'm in a resort market, so, 75% of our transactions a year now we're doing that are absentee owners. However, we do also do regular primary homeowners and regular market as well. So I use a couple different services. One is I use a company, it's called Relevate. It used to be called Telematch. It's called Relevate. And Relevate will get me all the phone numbers that I need. And they also, for example, in the resort market, they'll get me the actual where the primary homeowner lives, not where the subject property is in my market. So Relevate gets you the numbers. And the girl there I work with her name is Kelly Idle, and she's awesome. And I've been working with them forever. So Relevate I use. I also use Dan Stanfield, and out of California, and Dan also gets me expireds and expired numbers, and he can actually get us cell phones as well. So he's real good as far as getting me, more details as far as like expired listings and cell phones and so forth. So I use Relevate and Dan, and then also, My team, we also in the morning for expireds and for sale by owners, they're still looking up everybody online, manually looking up. I use Spokio. If any guys use Spokio, you can become a member there. You can do reverse lookup on the property address. You can reverse lookup on their name. A lot of times they give you the email address as well, which we're always looking for emails. Building a database with emails. Yeah. So Spokio is a big one, and we use switchboard.com. Again, we're finding people. So we're going to Google their name. If on Facebook, we're going to see if they have a Facebook account. We're going to find them which way. But as far as overall numbers, Relevate, Dan we use, and then basically Spokio.
Great. Jeff, can I keep answering some more prospecting questions? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's talk about, and yes, you learned most of your calling and scripts from Mike Ferry, Catherine asks. Is that right, Jeff? For the most part? Anyone else you want to attribute for your scripting?
Pretty much Mike. And obviously Matthew and Tom Ferry from many, many years ago through the productivity schools and so forth. But ultimately it's always been Mike's company.
What are the guidelines for your ISA talking on the phone before they cross into licensed territory? Lori asks.
So what are the guidelines? Say again? Yeah,
like how much does your ISA, well, first off, I guess the premise is your ISA licensed or unlicensed?
He's licensed. Yeah, I made him go and get his license. Yep, he's licensed.
Right. Solves that trouble.
Yeah.
So he can say anything, right? He's a licensed agent.
He's a regular real estate. He first started here with me, and he wasn't licensed, and then he went through, and I put him through school, and he went and got his license. So ultimately, when he was called, when he wasn't licensed, it was a matter of just, hey, this is Nick at Jeff's office. Jeff asked me to call you, and we just listed a home over at 123 Banana Street, and he was calling to see, who do you know that wants to move into the neighborhood. He wouldn't give a price or like that. Well, and they might say, well, what's the price? Well, I'll have Jeff get in touch with you and just tell me. Do you know of anyone looking to move in the neighborhood? And I don't know anybody. I appreciate you taking to think about it. Tell me. Well, then when do you plan on moving? Well, then it would just go from there through the scripts.
Jeff, let's get one or two more or Jeff Manson, rather. I know you have a lot of good questions here. We have about 3 or 4 more minutes for prospecting. Good question. What should we ask him?
All right. Well, one thing I know people are probably wondering is you're calling the expireds and all that. How often do you follow up with them? And how do you do your follow-up with them, and then how often are you doing that? So what's your process? You get an expired, maybe you don't get them right away, you don't book an appointment. So what's your procedure and system for that as far as future follow-up, and how many times and how often are you going to bird dog them?
Okay, so assuming that we actually did talk to them already, first, the mindset of my team and I is we call them. Our goal is to be the first to call them.
Sure.
And then our goal is to call them until we get them. And so we're hammering them all day. So it's morning, it's noon, it's afternoon, it's night, it's getting them however we can get to them. In addition to that, we're actually taking a little bit more steps, and we're finding them. You can find people today. It's not hard to find someone online. It's not hard. Look, LinkedIn, almost everybody, business people are in there today. You go to LinkedIn, you search them, you can find them. You can see where they work. You can find somebody somehow these days. So, we take those extra steps because we know that the harder they are to find, the easier they are to list. So that's kind of the mindset we have. So if you can't get them, but you're able to find a way to get them, and you take that extra step, then we find them. So that's the mindset.
And you don't get that appointment, how often do you follow up with them?
So we're pretty relentless. Here's what we know, and it's sitting right here, is 80% of the sales are made on between the 5th and 12th contact. So, that's one thing we hammer. We're on them. So we understand it might take you, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And that's one of the things that people say to me, man, you are just so, persistent. And we really appreciate that. We want that because our last agent, really never even called us, and they weren't very active at all. And we like your aggressiveness in a good way, but they understand the consistency and the persistence. So, we call them, and then, I have a I have a 7-day lead folder. So basically, hold on a minute. So here's like my leads, right? Just as a basic folder. See?
Sure.
Right here. You see, there's just 7 days on it, right? So in there, basically, my goal is that if I get a hot expired, maybe not have been able to set an appointment, my goal is to get him in that folder and set an appointment and get a signed contract within 7 days, depending on how the conversation goes. So I have a very basic, simple system by just asking the questions. So they'll go in there. and then we follow up and follow up and follow up until they either they
right.
relist with someone else or they kind of hang up on us. But here's what we know: 80% of expireds relist within 6 months.
I would agree. And so my next question is, because I know people are probably going, oh my God, I could never do that. I could never call and call and call. How did you develop the mindset to be able to do that? And what keeps you going with all those no's? You know what I mean? I have a really good idea because I'm Mike Ferry trained and I used to do the same thing, but I want you to share with this audience how'd you get that mindset and what do you got to be thinking about and what keeps you going?
At this point, I've been doing it so long, so often. It's just I don't know. It's robotic, I guess now. And you just come in and you just do it. So, but ultimately, you've got to practice, and I think it comes to the confidence in knowing what to say, knowing the objections. Because if you know what to say, or at least you know the objections, what happens? What I've noticed and understand is when I know what to say and I feel the confidence, the seller on the other line knows the confidence is there, so they don't give you the objection. Right. So when you know what you're saying and how to present and handle objections and know the scripts and you own those scripts and you hone them and they become yours and you know what to say, man, I'll tell you what, the response goes way up and you don't get the rejection as much. So first I would say the mindset is understanding, know what to say, and once you get that, the confidence then of you comes through, and therefore you become more attractive to them, and then so you don't get burned out with the no's and the hang-ups and all that, and that's just part of the skill. I had a conversation with my staff yesterday. I was saying to them, I said, guys, there's the secret sauce in all of this, because I was listening to Nick call and another agent call, or Pat in my office call, and I heard some things going on in their conversations, and I said, you know what? I waited a little while. I recalled the same expired, and I actually set the appointment with the people. And what it was is, I said the secret sauce is what you have to understand is you've got to understand that you have to hear what the client is not saying, and that is the key. If you can hear the client what they're not saying, that's where you tap in, and then you can start to guide them, because then you can bring up what they actually should be saying. And I know it's kind of sounds weird, but if someone might say to you, as an example, I decided to take the home off the market, and I'm just going to wait it out for the market to come back. And you say, well, when it was on the market, if it has sold, what were you going to do? Where were you going to go next? Well, I was looking at to rebuild on another lot. Well, then, ultimately, some other people say, oh, you're looking to rebuild another lot. Okay, good. And so you're not planning to go ahead and get it back on the market now. And the lady would say, no, I'm just going to keep it off for a while. Someone might say, okay, well, thanks a lot, and hang up. So, you hear that. Think about rebuilding on another lot. Well, tell me more about that. So if it had sold, were you going to think about building on your existing home to tear down and build on your lot, or are you looking to buy something else to build new? So there's little things there. But to answer your question, I think it's just the confidence of understanding what to say and learning the scripts that gives you that.
And thousands of hours of practice, which
I would,
20 years.
Yeah.
I would also say that you probably, because this was for me, you probably have the belief that you're the best agent in your area, and you're doing them a disservice if you don't actually call them, because they might get stuck with some other agent that's not going to do as well job, right?
Oh, all the time. I mean, that's when I call them, it's funny, because part of the scripting many times after I do the Spire script, then I'll mix in a little bit. I might just say, hey, I noticed, that how did you happen to pick the last agent you listed with? Well, I listed with, Joe Smith. Well, Joe Smith, great. And I'm just wondering, well, I see Joe Smith had your home on the market for 6 months and failed to sell it. I mean, obviously you're going to consider getting a second opinion from me at this point, right? So, it's like you got to, So you just, you have that confidence that, look, I know I'm going to get the job for you because this other bozo didn't do it.
Well, that's good. Okay, guys.
I got one objection, because people calling expired. Sorry, Frank. I love this the prospecting part of it. I just love it. But anyhow, let's say if you were calling an expired listing, and they probably get well, I'm just going to take it off the market and hold off a minute, because I want to fix it up or I want to do something. If they throw you that objection, how would you handle that?
So you're calling expired. They say I'm gonna take it off the market because they're gonna fix the property up, or
I'm
some
trying
improvement to it
a little bit, because I'm just gonna fix it up maybe, because maybe that'll help get a better price. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I would just say, well, so specifically, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
We're good.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
So, I would just handle it something like, so specifically, what caused you to believe that your improvements you'll do are actually going to bring more value to the property? And then I'll have them answer, well, and see what they say. Well, they might say, well, I don't know, whatever you want to say. Or they'll put new granite in there. Well, okay. And I might say, well, let me ask you a question. I mean, if the moment that the buyer comes in doesn't like the granite that you picked, and then the wife decides to just redo it with a new marble, how much is it worth to them?
Right.
And basically handle that objection.
Jeff,
there.
I want to get one more prospecting question, then we'll move on to marketing as promised, because we're about a little over 20 minutes in.
All right.
And what got voted up was, why not upload your lead list to Mojo, and why are you using two phones when you can use Mojo? We explained the whole two-phone thing, and do you use Mojo? Do you not use Mojo? And your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I have a Mojo account, and so it depends on the day and what's going on. So many times what I'll do is I'll Mojo out one phone, let's say my left phone, and then I'll actually just dial on the right one. So I'll continue to do both. So in other words, if someone answers on Mojo, then I'll just stop dialing on the right one. If someone answers on the right one, I'll just put Mojo on pause. So I can actually have 4 dials going at any time. But again, keep in mind, yeah, I mean, I've double dialed for many, many years. Well, I just, dial the left one, it rings. While that one's ringing, I dial the right one. And then if this person answers, then I'll prospect, and I'll still dial the right one, dial. If they answer, then I'll just sometimes hang up unless I can get good with it. And, I can do the whole script here and put that one on mute and actually talk to the other one, mute them back and forth. You can actually do that. But ultimately, it's just be able to get through a lot of people. So I then, again, keep in mind, I've been prospecting a long time. I have a big database, and many of the expireds, past clients, or even calling through just sold calls, I have a lot of these people already in my database. So when I'm calling expireds or old expireds, because I've talked to them over the years, and I've asked, again, once you build this up for years and years and years, I build a database, I get their email addresses, I get as much information as I can. So a lot of times I physically don't need to Mojo it, I'll just dial them up because I have them already in my system.
Okay, great. Jeff, thank you. So let's move on to marketing. So we talked about just a glimpse into your world of the sheer number of contacts and calling and prospecting, right? And that's the foundation, really, of all your success. Now, the popular question here is, can you maybe explain what you're doing for marketing, like sequentially in the form of layers? Like, what's the foundation of your marketing? And then how do you build on top of that foundation with the hierarchy of all your marketing systems? Could you explain that to us?
Yeah, so, my team, again, we do a lot of prospecting, and much of the marketing I don't do a lot of marketing right now as far as, a lot of billboards or radio ads or, big splashy magazines and all over the place. I don't really do any of that much at all. I do one magazine. It's a higher-end magazine. I've not got one call from it. But it's a nice ad, and basically I put that in there because I work the high end a little bit, and that's just like a thing that people see, and hopefully I get invited to the dance and then see it in there, and I can go on that and say, here's what I do for that. But the reality is it doesn't do much other than for the seller's ego and my ego, I guess. So that I don't do a lot of that. What I do is I prospect is the base to build my database, and then I feed my database with good content through newsletters that I write, do 2 video blogs a month, which Frank obviously you help me with, and all the topics for that, and you guys edit that and you send it out to my database, and that has been unbelievable success for me over the years because my whole thing is when I'm marketing to my database is to position myself as a market expert, and as a market expert when I'm giving good relevant information and real-time information and whatever's going on in the marketplace, what's happened is as a byproduct, I'm getting a ton of people to come list me calls. So we do newsletters. I do a lot of email drip campaigns. I've got different campaigns set up through Infusionsoft where someone comes in my system from wherever it may be. Those triggers that go off to them. I've got a 24-month buyer sequence that goes out. I have an expired sequence that goes out. I talk to sellers for over a year that are dripped out over along the way and have different triggers so that if they do certain, I study their click patterns. So if they do certain things, for example, if they click on email number 1, they click on 1, 2, 3, it'll shoot off something else based upon what they clicked on, and then it'll actually give me the notifications on how I want it staggered out based upon their click pattern to tell me where they are in their sequence and when I should call them. So that's a lot of the marketing we're doing through our database. As far as
how many
all the other
emails in a
things
week?
for sign calls. We obviously have an 800 number.
Yeah, there's a delay. Sorry, Jeff. I was going to ask you how many emails a week you're adding to your database, just through your prospecting, but it might be a little bit delayed, so keep going.
Yeah, no problem. I hear you. How many emails a week through? Oh, geez. I mean, through prospecting, probably through the team, everybody, 20 probably a day minimum. So whatever that would be, maybe 100 a week.
Great.
Roughly. Just yesterday I had a client. This is to tell you how I think. So I had a client email me. In close to Atlantic City here, there's 3 casinos that are shutting down, right? So one of our clients, we listed their property about a month ago, and he got the notice that he's losing his job. He's been there 30 years. He's moving to Florida, and he then sent an email out from his personal email to all of his business people inside of his own address book, even inside of the casino, because you could see the email address, and said, "Hey, I just want to let everybody know that my other email address is going to be shut off now. Email all me back here. It was great work with you guys. Blah blah blah." He didn't blind carbon, didn't BCC anyone. So all that damn email list came in. I don't know. There's probably 100 of them in there. So what do? I said, I tell Sally in my office, capture them emails, put them in our system. They're now a new COI. Send out our COI drip campaign to them, and we're gonna prospect them as if they're part of our COI, and they're gonna get dripped on and communicate to that way. So we're always building our database as far as email addresses that way. So some, it depends on which week, but through prospecting, probably at least 20 a day.
Great. Keep telling us more things you're doing for marketing. Maybe buyer lead generation, seller lead generation.
Yeah. So
marketing.
Yeah, on the buyer lead generation, I mean, a majority of our buyer leads come in from, internet marketing, as far as, we have all the normal list hub type of stuff that's out there. Real Geeks we're on right now, and they're putting it out there with driving traffic to our site and coming in there. That's been very helpful. So we have a Zillow account. I do have Zillow as a preferred agent. I have different zip codes. I've spent about 1,300 hours a month as far as that, and the quality there is good. The quantity is not as much, and I'm trying to build up right now my reviews. I'm about 50 reviews or so, and what we're starting to see there is, because of the reviews on Zillow, you start to get some listings, come list me calls from those. So, but we get a lot of sign calls because I've got so many listings in the marketplace. So a major portion of our signs come in. We have the 800 number from Arch Telecom we put on there with an extension that has the capture. So that's mostly the buyer side as far as the internet leads.
Jeff, popular question. Will you share your scripts, or can you point someone where someone can get the scripts that you're using for your prospecting? We had about 9 people vote that one up.
Yeah, so I mean, all the scripts you can get from MikeFerry.com, and on there, if you go on the complimentary downloads, you go through there and click on that. And Mike has all kinds of scripts in there. You can everything: expired script, past client script, center of influence, for sale by owner. There's buyer scripts in there. There's tons of them. So I would go right to MikeFerry.com.
I wouldn't risk, ruining your connection, but if there's some way, because I know all the scripts are literally right in front of you on a giant wall, they're all printed off. I mean, can you move that computer without screwing anything up, Jeff, to show everybody?
So, yeah. Hold on one second. Let me see here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually just Google Mike Ferry expired script, past client script, just listed script, objection handlers. They're all online on PDFs.
Yeah. Let me see if I can answer some of these questions. Anna, your question is.
I'm back. So this is over there, but can you guys see this? So this is a stand that I have, right? And it goes on my countertop. But in here is these are all the scripts that are already in here. So if I want to go to, like, for example, that's a for sale by owner script here. It's right there. Expired script, just listed there. Just listed, just sold scripts. Expired script, pre-qual script. So they're all here. and then on my wall I have all the objections. But I don't want to move the computer because it's.
I don't do that. Jeff,
the
I
internet,
just
I don't want to mess it up.
question I wanted to ask you. Where do you get all your content for your drip campaigns and for your sequences and for your videos? You want to share that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a link. And Frank, you can, you have it. You can give them access to this. If you go to
Infusionsoft, and you can get a link to all the sequences that he wrote in that link in the comments down below. I wrote over a long message to everybody. There's a link there. You can check that out. And there's also quite
URL, a few. Can you read the URL?
I don't know. I think it's like
it's real estate sales solutions
.com
/ Jeff Quintin.
Jeff Quintin. Is it all one word, Jeff Quintin? Does it have a underscore? Do we know?
No, it's just
one word.
Real estate sales.
Jeff Quintin, one word. Okay, just want to make sure that way they can write it down or go.
And then Jeff, all the ones I wrote for you back in the day that still work. I posted those for free up on our website. If you go to getviral.com, GETVY as in yellow, RAL.com, click the campaigns tab at the top, and you'll see all the emails right there that literally are dripping out. I'm not sure which ones are being used or not, but they're all pretty good. They're free for you to take and swipe and use in your business. So I just want to get that answer. I just want to get that answered.
Hey Jeff, as far as the marketing, I know you said you get a lot of business off the sign calls. You said buyers, but you're also getting listings from those too, because when they call in, you guys are also keying in trying to get listings, correct?
Yep, exactly. Sure.
Okay. Same thing with the online internet leads. They're not, because sellers start with buyers. Maybe not so much in your resort market, but a lot of times when they are looking to buy a home or calling on a home, they also have a home to sell, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's often, especially in the summer months, when depending on each market, but if I'm working offshore here, but in town, a lot of the homeowners already own here will look to upgrade, and we'll get to sell them and upgrade them to another.
Nice.
Great. Okay. Anything else we can share about marketing? Let's see if we've got some other marketing questions really quick before we go into admin, which is kind of the promise behind the event today, was how your team of 2 people or 3 manages 90 listings. Right now you have currently 90 listings. Your COI drip campaign, pretty much what we do for that, Anna, is viral marketing is 2 videos a month. What are you using for your prospecting or letters or knocking on doors? George Lopez asks from a marketing standpoint. Any letters you send or postcards you send maybe, or anything you leave on door knocking? But I don't know if door knocking is a big thing in your resort market.
No.
Yeah, I mean, no, we don't do a whole lot of door knocking at all. I mean, we will do some door knocking to specific expireds that we can't get, from time to time. Then I'll have Nick, who also is, my ISA. I'll have him actually go to them and drop off some information, knock on the door to find out, what they're up to if we can't get them. But one thing that we do as far as additional marketing, it's not in a mass way at all, but it's kind of cool, is I took my marketing plan and I actually made it into a magazine. So I had it bounded and everything just like a regular magazine, and it's glossy, it's really nice, and that's been pretty cool. So if we go, like, for example, on a door knock, we'll give them that marketing magazine, and then from time to time we'll actually send that to certain expireds as well. But I don't really do much postcard mailing as far as a postcard campaign, and just that magazine will mail to expireds.
Really. I mean, you do a lot of heavy email marketing follow-up sequences. Great. What's your CRM?
Yeah, I tend to.
There's a delay. Go ahead, Jeff. CRM and marketing.
So, I mean, as far as CRM, I use Top Producer, but Top Producer, it's nothing more than really just a glorified address book at this point. The other CRM that I really use is just Infusionsoft, but that's managing my campaigns through how I'm communicating to my database with the emails and the drips and so forth. That's really the 2 I'm using.
Okay. Any other marketing questions you can think of, Jeff Manson?
No, I'm good. I'm done with the marketing. And a lot of people, are tuning in too, because they're probably thinking, oh my God, this guy's carrying 90 listings. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions I know people are probably thinking is, like, how in the world do you communicate with that many sellers on feedback for showings and stuff like that? Do you have what systems do you have in place and stuff like that? I'd like to dive in deeper to that. The systems of actually being able to manage that many listings.
So, with 90 listings, I mean, again, normally someone that would have, I would say, can you guys see me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
So normally someone, when agents normally have 90 listings, in my opinion, in most markets, if it's a good market, you should be doing, geez, selling half of them a month, you'd be doing 600-700 transactions a year. The marketplace that I work in, just to understand our market, there's about anywhere between 2 to maybe 8% of the market sells per month, meaning that if you had 100 listings in the market, between 2 and 8 would sell at best, and depends on what market it's in. So like Ocean City, which is one of my major markets, that's one of the better markets. Last month there's 897 homes for sale and 71 under contract last month, which is only 8%. So 92% of the homes didn't sell. But then other markets, for example, say like Wildwood Crest, there's 3% of the market, only 20 homes sold there last month. These are all different areas we work in. So it takes, in our market, to do high volume, you've got to have a lot of inventory just to do numbers. And understanding that our market is one that it takes an average of 6 to 7 months to sell. You've got to have some built-in price reduction type campaigns to understand, to be able to do bigger volumes. So that's one of the reasons why I've got a lot of listings, just because I have to do the volume that I want to do. But secondly, as far as how we communicate, again, I've got a campaign for that as well. So I've got an active seller campaign that will send off to them so they know exactly what to expect along the way. There's videos in there, there's PDFs in there. Ultimately, in the first, I think, 72 days, they get like 27 different emails sent to them. It's all staggered out, and everything's staggered out. Once it hits the 21st day, starts talking about price adjustments and price reductions if it's not sold. So we have a lot of automation in our business as far as being able to communicate to these sellers. Now, of the 90, there's probably only, I think John told me the other day, I think there was 64 or 65 total sellers. I've got new construction in there with some multiple, developers. I've got, things in there, so they're mixed in. So, at any moment, and again, I had 110 listings about 3 months ago. So at any moment, we might have 60 to 75 different individual sellers, but we have a lot of automation that's communicated to them in advance, so we're future pacing them, letting them always know what's going on. On the feedback side, we use the company has it. They were using homefeedback.com, and now it's I forget the name of it, whatever it is.
It's a software though. You can, and do you fill in the comments or the remarks of other agents and feedback, and then it emails them, or? Yeah.
It's here it is. Showing time. Yeah. So right. like for example, I get a report every Monday. I'll get another one on this was on August 18th. Okay. And this is that week before. The other one, actually, I have it out there that I'm writing on. But anyway,
does that communicate with the seller too? Like shoot them updates, reports, how many showings, feedback, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah. So like this report right now says I got, as of this is just this one. I have 98 active listings right now. So that was as of the 18th. So yeah, what it'll do is as soon as a buyer agent shows the property, immediately after that it sends an email directly to the buyer's agent requesting the feedback. What was the price like, the condition, any comments they like. It gives them a rating of 1 to 5. The moment that the buyer's agent fills that out and submit it, I get a copy, and also the seller gets a copy. So they're always getting the feedback directly from them. And then John is my listing manager. He has an Excel spreadsheet where he's calling every other week, touching base with the sellers, giving them feedback, giving them ideas as far as what's going on within the market, how the market's doing. So he's always following up with them as well. And then every Monday, which was the report I was writing on from past Monday, I also go in there and I study these numbers and look at them and say, okay, well, gosh, this property here has been on the market for 72 days. It's had 15 showings. It had 8 in the last 30 days and none in the last 7 days. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this has been on this long and it's not sold yet. So I need to have a conversation with the seller. So then I have my staff set up an actual appointment with the seller. So a major portion of my afternoons are having appointments with my sellers, discussing what's going on and ultimately getting price reductions. So that's just my market.
All right, that's great. So you're actually personally doing that after you get the data, then you analyze it, and then you have that conversation with them and say, hey, based on what we're seeing, we need to, reduce the price. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here the next 2 years or what have you.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Great. Do you have any questions there, Frank, or is anyone popping up?
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. Jeff, try to keep your answers around maybe 30 seconds on some of these questions. I'll kind of get some ones answered. But are you doing the AdWords spend?
Sure.
Hottest keyword phrases that work in your market? Kevin asks.
No AdWords.
Easy enough. For email sequences, can you talk a little more, maybe share where someone can go to learn how they're structured and what types of topics to include and when in the sequences? Keelan asks.
As far as in all my drip campaigns, what topics to put in there?
Yeah,
well,
can someone go get a demo? Go look at.
Yeah. So go to that same link, and you can do a demo there. That'll drive you right to that. Sure.
Yeah. So realestatesalessolutions.com/Jeff Quintin, Keelan. I would go check that out.
Yeah.
And you can. This one got voted up quite a bit, Jeff. You can answer this one as delicately as you like. How is your team paid, or how would you suggest a newbie grow a team?
Well, it depends. Okay, so I guess the answer to the second part is, if you're a new agent, I think you've got to get to a place where you're doing at least 30, maybe 35, 40 transactions on your own, doing it that way, and then you're ready for your first assistant. And then from there, you can start to grow. But your first assistant's going to be around 30 to 35 transactions, in my opinion. And the difference is in that transition, you've got to understand you need to put more time into income generating versus income servicing of your day, and understand that the delegation part is going to be the key, is letting go of everything you've been doing to someone else and trusting them. That's going to be the hardest part. So that's I would say about 30 to 35 transactions you hire your first assistant.
Hey,
and then you pay them,
Yeah, when you're incredibly profitable, you're bringing 60-some% to the bottom line after all your expenses. That's with a very large team, and it's because you're very prospecting based with just some very scalable email marketing basically enhanced for the most part, but timed to correctly to the right market.
I have a quick question going back to the admin stuff. How many escrows are you with that many listings, how many escrows are you carrying at any one given time or on average? Who's going to look at
right now? Yeah, right now we are at 28.
28 escrows, okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of, that's actually a little light. It's a little light. So we have it's still August, right?
Yeah.
So we've got, we're just closing down a bunch here. So that's kind of on the light side. We normally we'll normally close, because we just had a bunch going this month. We'll probably pen. We always have carrying about 30 to 40 at any moment.
Nice. And then you have one person that manages all those escrows?
Yes.
Is that true?
Person.
Nick asks, what percentage of your 90 active right now will actually sell and close before expiring? That's good. You're putting you on the spot there, Jeff.
Yeah, so we're about out of these 90, there's probably 20% of them aren't going to sell. So 20 listings that won't. The rest of them will at some level, at some point. It's just the marketplace is what we're dealing with. The marketplace here, a seller's cool not to sell a house in 6 months, and it's seasonal too. Where I am, so like right now, this is when they're using the property, their income's in the property, their motivation is in there. Right after Labor Day, boom, the motivation kicks in. I don't want to carry it for the winter. I'm not going to be down using it. Okay, let's sell it. So you got to understand, you want to, in my market, you got to build up your inventory in the spring, and all that sells. So one of my largest months are March and April. So all that sells, and then the summer kind of just goes flat, and then fall, inventory dumps on again.
Just
so
curious.
That's kind of likewise.
If 50% you said earlier of your business is coming from past clients and expireds, Sonda asks, where is the other 50% coming from?
Okay, so what it is it's past clients 28%, referrals are 16%, and COI is 5%. So that's 49% just in past clients, center of influence, and referrals from that group. 50% just there. 19% is expires. So that's 68% total. Yep, that's 68% total. The remaining whatever that is, 32% more is coming from just listed, just sold calls, ads, meaning internet leads, some type of advertising at some level, and there's a little bit of REO mixed in there. We still have some REO accounts, but we only do about maybe 15, 20 deals a year in that range.
What software system do you use to manage your transactions once they go into escrow? Brian asks to promise on how you manage 90 listings. Do you have software that manages that, the transaction?
So the reality is no. I don't have a real deal software in any of it. We're currently right now looking at Easy Coordinator, and my closing coordinator is actually going through that. We have it as a free trial. Otherwise, it's been old school manual. And my closing manager is actually 70 years old. Her name's Ruth. In fact, she's retiring, and we're phasing her out right now and getting a new one. So she's old school, been in the business 40 years, and she's manual at files, checklists in there, not very good. There's no real system, but I'll tell you what, she closes 200 deals a year for us, and she's done 40 some a month. It's probably her best month.
And you have 2 CRMs. Again, to restate them, you have Top Producer.
Right.
And then you have Infusionsoft for your emails. So Infusionsoft does your emails, correct? And then
Yes.
Top Producer does what again for Kimberly?
Top Producer really doesn't do a whole lot other than it's a glorified address book. I don't really use it and I'm sure it does so many things, but I don't really use it for much more than just putting everyone in there, and then I export everyone out of there into other areas. Also, what Top Producer actually does for me though is it rotates my calls. So I get a call list every morning, past clients, center of influence, everything, how they're supposed to be called, because we call them. I have a top 100 list, a VIP list called 30 days. I've got a double A client every 60 days.
Those are the action plans of when you get a
correct. Yes.
Top Producer, you put them on an action plan of when you should be calling. So every morning, Sally in your office faxes you because you're down the street and you don't like technology so much to work on. She faxes you how many sheets of paper in the morning?
A
30,
ton.
40, 50 sheets of paper are faxed to you, and it has all of your calls.
She's sending the guys too.
Yeah, it has all the calls of here's all the action plans of all your past clients, all your here's all the people you have to call today. It's all faxed to you first thing in the morning. I think that's pretty cool.
It looks like this. So here's like a batch of them, right? So this would just be, these are just some of the to-dos right here. These are my current sellers, reminding me to send these update CMAs, 1, 2, 3, 4 CMAs, and then from here are just here's a standard follow-up call. Here's an A client, referral agent. Here's a top 100. This is what I have is a $1 million club. These are people that own a home that's worth over $1 million. This is a top 100. So the calls just get spit out. This one tells me this is a hot buyer. I got to call him. Top 100. So it goes all the way through.
Okay, cool. That's some other good questions. Anything else do you think we should ask Jeff Manson? I can keep going.
No, keep asking some questions. I'm good.
Jeff, your headset's badass. What kind of headset you using, Jeff Quintin?
This one here?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know, whatever you sent me. You like it?
That's the one I sent you?
Some Microsoft headset. I don't know. It's awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, you did. It's what you got on your head, probably. Same thing.
Oh.
You sent this to me. That's the benefit of your. That's the benefit of. Hey, this is the benefit of. I think you did this one time, and you said your microphone on your computer sucks.
Okay.
You said something like it sounds like shit, and I'm going to send you a.
But yeah, it's a USB headset that's plugged into his computer. That's what he wants to use. So, and you don't do any ad spending online. You don't. I mean, would you maybe share
Zillow.
You do Zillow? So
yes.
Tell us, do you call on Zillow's Make Me Move leads?
We do.
Deborah asked. Anything specific you want to go in deeper on that?
I have Nick go on there and look at those. I mean, look. I'm in a mindset that I'm in the database building business. So like all those leads that come in there, I'm going on forsalebyowner.com. I'm going on fsbo.com. Any of those sites, I'm going on vrbo.com, in resort market, and you guys can do it anywhere else because VRBO could also be for yearly rentals. Mm-hmm. And in your marketplace, you might find on VRBO there could be a couple hundred, different agents, that you can, or owners, you can get their information. So I'm going in all different places. My team are on the internet finding them to scrape off and get their information. So, the little tip we do at VRBO, I'll just send an email blast to, say there's 100 of them, something very general that will say, hey, I'm just curious about your property and how close is it to a grocery store? Well, they'll send that to that homeowner. That homeowner will respond, boom, I get all their contact information is already there, but then I'll get their email address. That goes in my database. Boom.
Cool. All right, let's talk about, are you willing to share your COI drip campaign? Now, and I'll answer this. Go to jeffquintin.tv. That's the video blog that we run for Jeff, which is soon all that content's going to go on his Real Geeks site, right, Manson?
Yes.
Which is going to help with his SEO by publishing these videos.
Yeah,
and you can literally go on there, Anna, and look at all the topics that Jeff has been sending out. And his topics are awesome. Like Jeff, Quintin, we've had clients transcribe your videos so they could use your content in their markets. How is that for like a flattering, for flattery,
cool.
right? Yeah. So you can go and see all of his videos on there, and that's what he's sending out to his COI. And the key is with your content, the COI stuff, the 2 messages a month, your drip campaigns are set. You write those and they're done. They run all the time, right? But will you elaborate on how you come up with your timely, up-to-date, market of the moment content twice a month? That's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, so the market of the moment stuff really comes from just paying attention as far as what's out there, and then also when you're prospecting, many times if a client has a certain question about something, whatever that might be, whatever's going on in the market, whatever that is. So it might be, hey, I have an investment property or whatever, and tell me a little bit more about doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange. How does that work? So I'll say, wow, you know what? I'm getting this a lot, or whatever the topic may be, where somebody may be asking over and over again. I'll listen for that and say, okay, this is a topic for the moment right now that I need to get out to everyone, because if one person has a question, a lot of other people will do. So I'm just always looking for whatever it is at the moment. It could be interest rates. It could be, and I'll ask, you're reading the paper about the economy or stock market thing, or, and something very general where I'll just say, hey, this past week or this past month, did you know that there was, 71 homes sold in my market with an average sales price of X, average days on the market was this, and in the, the breakdown, it was, there was 55 single-family homes, 20 condos, and 1 vacant lot. Like something, whatever's going on, I'll share with them.
Answering questions, what you're hearing in the prospecting calls, really.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's just listening for it and then giving them that information.
Jeff, I think we had a revolt. Since obviously Jeff Manson's with Real Geeks, you don't use AdWords. How do you get buyer leads? Maybe Manson, can you elaborate on that?
Okay, here's the deal. He's just transforming over into Real Geeks, and they are going to be setting up an AdWords account. Dobbin and those guys, they are going to be doing that, but currently he's not doing that, correct?
Yeah, I mean, currently I'm not. I mean, so before I had a Boomtown account, and so I was using Boomtown, and I'm not using Boomtown. I got rid of it, and the only thing I was doing through Boomtown before was just doing a Craigslist rapid posting until they changed the Craigslist rules or whatever. And that was working for a while, but it's too expensive, and it's not,
Do you
I don't
do
want to
any
use it.
direct
But I didn't
mailers
do
every month?
Google AdWords or any of that stuff.
Do you do any direct mailers?
I don't do any
monthly?
direct. The only direct mailing I do. The only direct mailing I do is I do mail to my past clients once a quarter.
Okay.
And then I send them a postcard of some sort.
Any
But
text
they're
messaging services
they're my.
you use? Do you use texting at all in any way?
Not really. No. The only say not really is I have a way that if you text to this number for my home or whatever it is, and then for market analysis, but I'm not using it.
How many hours a day you work, Sydney asks Jeff.
I work about 10 hours a day, but I only work 5 days a week. That's it.
You take what, Thursdays and Sundays off?
Are you there?
You're delayed if you can hear me.
I can hear you. You take Thursdays and Sundays off, right?
I take Thursdays and Sundays off. Every Thursday, every Sunday off.
And your
like
website,
today. I took off today.
Impact asks for your website. It's jeffquintin.com or jeffquintin.tv for his seller COI video blog with viral. Do you know what his website address will be for his Real Geek site, Jeff Manson?
That's what, Jersey Shore Real Estate Search. They're still working on it. They haven't pushed it live. They're about ready to push it live any day. And actually, the jeffquintin.com will be redirecting into the Jersey Shore Real Estate Search.
Okay.
Real estate search.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was a full hour. How about that stuff, guys? Jeff, thank you for your wonderful insight.
Yes.
Jeff Manson, let's wrap it up.
All right. So, first off, I'd like to thank Jeff Quintin again for taking his time, especially on Thursdays. He's normally off on Thursdays, and he did come into the office to be on this for us, and it is his day off, so we really appreciate it. He came from the beach with his daughters, and we really appreciate you rushing over here to get on here. And I know a lot of agents probably are getting a lot of great information. And so, like I said at the beginning, he did give up his time. If you know of anyone looking to buy or sell in the South Jersey Shores, please send him a referral and look him up. And I mean, that's it. I just want to thank him. And if you want to get these, go to keepingitreal.com and opt in. And in 2 weeks, I think September 11th, I'll be traveling in New York, but I will be doing this live hangout with Frank from New York. Frank won't be in New York with me, but we're going to have a guest on Lars.
Lars Heddenborg. In 4 years, this guy built a $2.5–3 million business or something out of Charlotte, and now only works in his business 1 day a week. So we're going to talk about the order, and he basically purchased everything. He's going to tell you what to buy and what not to buy, and he has built his business up so he can fully exit it now. And I think he's going to be a great guest for our show.
All right. So thanks a lot, everybody, and until next time, aloha.